Hello everyone. Sorry about the delay. My system just hung up, and which is why I was a bit late today. Again, I apologize for that. My name is Dean. I'm here to present the webinar for SQLyog. We are going to go through some tips and tricks for SQLyog's database. It is a database management solution that helps you manage your MySQL databases, and we're going to go through some of the features for it today. Please bear with me, and again, I apologize for the delayed start. So uh, let's go through what we are going to do today. So we are going to understand how to maximize the trial experience. That is something that we will do by going through some of the tips and tricks. We are going to understand the trial limitations. We are going to go through the license structure, ways to get help during and after the trial. Those are the things that we are going to go through during the next few minutes. So what is a database management? So SQLyog is something that helps you manage your MySQL database and navigate them. It helps you make a backup of it and make sure that it stays healthy, and it is something that that will help you alter those databases, keep a backup of it, do all those things. So that is something that you can do through a SQLyog. Now, the basics are that you can just press Control D on a SQLyog or use the object browser on the context menu to create a new database. Once you press Control D, you will get an option to enter the database name and click the create button. The create a database gets currently selected. The char set and collision option lets you define the default char set and collision for the database. Tables created in the database will be created with this selected char set and collision unless specified otherwise. Now you can click on database and go to alternate database on the menu bar, or you can simply press F6 or use database context menu to alter a database. This option lets you change the default char set and collision for a database. New tables created after that will be created with the selected char set and collision unless otherwise specified. Default settings for the existing tables and data stored in existing columns are not affected by this. It changes only default settings, for the database, and has only effect for future tables and data. So please remember that. So this is how you copy a database. You just, this is the screenshot of how it looks. If you want to copy to a different host or different, connect to multiple hosts, you can just go to File and click on New Connection. There will be a target drop down that will list all the connection. You can just copy to that. Now, how to copy to a different database? You can select a database you want to copy and select a database, and then go to copy database to a different host DB to copy a database. Please remember, with all the selected items of each table, it will just select all the table structure as well as data, and it will copy to the another database, which may be in a different local host and a different server. In copy database dialog box, you first select the objects like tables, views, stored procedures, functions, triggers, events to be copied from the source database. You may deselect all by clicking tree node. Check boxes to select the database objects quickly. You can create a database in the target by simply typing the database name, or you can select the target database from drop down where you want to copy the data. Uh, Please remember, you can click drop if exists in target to first delete the name objects in the destination database before copying them from the source database. You can click ignore definer to ignore the definer clause for the database objects. Please note that the target server will then create definer as a current SQLyog user when creating the object. You can click on structure only to copy the selected objects with no rows the destination table will remain empty. Or you can click structure and data to copy the objects along with its data in the destination database. Please click copy associated triggers to copy associated triggers of selected tables from the object tab. If copy associated triggers is also associated triggers can be added or removed. If it is checked, then the associated triggers can be added or removed by just selecting or unchecking the tables. Now, how to backup database as SQL dump. I just had a call with a client who had an issue with this on how to back up a database with SQL dump, and we created a support ticket for them to help them out. Uh, this is something that get confusing. We'll go through that today. So this is how it looks on how to create a backup database using SQL dump. This is just a test, but this is the example of how you export a SQL dump for backup for a database. So what are the points that you need to remember while saving as a SQL dump? You can dump a database for backup or for transferring the data to another SQL server, not necessarily a MySQL server. The dump will contain SQL statements to create the table and populate the table. To generate a dump, the database or table in the object browser, please go and select the database. And under database, you will get backup and export, where you will get an option that says backup databases as SQL dump. This option is available in table backup export. You'll be able to backup database as SQL dump or just press Control Alt E. That's the shortcut for it. You can simply press Control Alt E for it. Now, you'll get options that one of the options will be database name, where you will be able to select the database from the list of available databases. You'll be able to export as SQL, which means that you will need to specify the required options depending on what you need to export. Only the database structure, only the data, or both. It's up to you. Export to file, you will need to specify the export file name. Lock all tables for read. The lock will be generated for one table, the one for which insert statements is currently generated at a time. Flush logs before dump. Using this option will ensure all the data changes pending will be written to disk before the backup starts. So please remember that if you check this option, data changes that will be written to the disk, and all the data changes that are pending, they will be written to the disk before the backup starts. Now, there are other options. So there is the option that says single transaction. What is that? This option, similar to MySQL dump or single transaction, has only effect with transactional storage engines like InnoDB. All tables will be backed up from the state at the time the backup started. This option will ensure consistency across tables with foreign key constraints. The single transaction option and lock all table options are mutually exclusive. Now, there is an option that says include use database statement. It will allow you to insert the use database name on the script. Similarly, the create database statement, it will allow you to insert the create database in the script. The set foreign keys, the foreign underscore key underscore checks equals 0 option. This option should always be checked if tables within foreign keys are backed up, as there is no way to ensure that a parent table is written to the file before a child table. If they are written in opposite order, restore will fail and the option will not be selected. So please remember that you will need to check this particular option if tables with foreign keys are backed up, because there is no way that parent table, the first table, is written to file before the child table. Now, that is something that is a key area. Uh, Add a lock around insert statement. This is something that will ensure that no clients have write access to tables during restore, as long as they are not fully restored. Uh, create a insert statement. When this option is checked, data from more rows will be written into a single insert statement. Each insert statement will be allowed to go to the size specified in the max size of bulk insert setting. So please remember, when this option is checked, it will be something that will allow you to more rows will be actually written into this particular single insert statement, and that particular insert statement will be allowed to go to the size specified in the setting that says max or size of bulk inserts. That's how it works. Now, there is include drop statements as well. Inserts drop statements in the script to drop the named objects first before restoring the scripts. The option does have effect on the database, only tables and other objects, viewed, stored programs, etc. Now, the ignore definer is also there. This is an option to ignore, as the name suggests, ignore the definer for the database objects. Please note that the target server will then create a definer as current SQLyog user when creating the objects if this particular option is checked. Now, this is just the options for the SQLyog dump process. Now, how do we complete it? To complete a SQLyog dump process, first in the SQL dump dialog box, first select the objects like tables, views, stored procedure, functions, triggers, events to be backed up from the source database. You can then select or deselect all by clicking on the tree node, checkboxes to select the objects quickly. Now you can then select the file where you want to export that particular data. Once you have selected the file, click on export to create the script batch file. The SQLyog does the export in a different thread, so you can stop the export process anytime you need. Please note, there's a quick tip. You can even schedule a backup process using the schedule backups option. Now, this is something that we have discussed in the past a lot of times. There is an option that will allow you to use the Windows scheduler to schedule a backup at your convenience. So you can even schedule a backup dump using a Windows scheduler using the schedule backups option. Now, this is where you will be able to execute a SQL script. This is just a quick tip on how to execute a SQL script. SQLyog allows you to execute a batch file of any size, limited by the operating system, obviously, creating using a MySQL dump or SQLyog's export database as batch script option. Please go to select, please go to tools, the top menu. There you will see execute SQL script. You will just need to press Control Shift Q to go there directly, or you can go use your mouse to go to tools and click on execute SQL script. Then you'll be able to select the file and press execute. If SQLyog encounters an error, it will stop any further execution and logs the query as well as the error message in SQLyog.err. This particular file is located in the SQLyog's installation folder. So wherever you have installed SQLyog, you can just jump into that particular folder, and you will see SQLyog.err. That's where you will find all the error messages. That's a healthy tip in case you find any kind of error messages that you want to look into. Please go through this particular log file. Again, the log file name is SQLyog.err. If you get in touch with a support team in the future, they will ask for a log file that is SJ log file. You can also present them with SQLyog.err as well to provide them any errors you may have encountered. Now, how to empty a database. So all you need to do is just go to again a database and go to more database operation and click on empty database in the top menu bar to drop all the tables and other type of objects, again store procedures, views, etc. of a database. However, the database itself is not dropped, it remains an empty shell only. This is practical for import of SQL dump with no create database statement and no use statement. This means that this particular database, an empty database, uh, it will allow you to drop all the tables and other type of stored objects of a database. Now, this is how you do. This is how do a SQL dump for an empty database. You just go ahead and go to database, go to more database operations in the file menu, in the menu option on the top, and there you will see empty database. Now, create schema for database in HTML. To create a schema, how do you do that using HTML? So all you need to do is again go to database in the menu options. There you will see create schema for database in HTML. We have a shortcut for it. It's you might need a bit of finger jujitsu for that, but yeah, you can just press Control Shift Alt S. You might need both of your hands for it, but just press Control Shift Alt S, and you'll be able to create a schema for database in HTML. Now, this is actually pretty useful for documentation of database, as you may print the schema nicely with appropriate page breaks, formatting, all that jazz. Uh, you will then need to select the tables for which schema needs to be created. You may use select all or unselect all buttons to create the tables quickly. Click the create button. You will get the file dialog box to specify the file name to store the generated schema. This is how it looks. Now, please do not mind the quality of my screenshots. Again, if you guys didn't notice, I was a bit late today, and I had to rush things up while I was also managing a key machine that was not working properly today. So again, I apologize for the delay, and I apologize for the size of the screenshot and the haphazard nature of this particular presentation. I'll try to make sure that the sizes are bigger and there's more details in the future. So as you can see from the screenshot, you will need to just select the tables for which the schema needs to be created. There is select unselect all option buttons to create the tables quickly. You just need to click on the create button. You will get the file dialog box to specify the file name to store the generated schema. Now, this was creating schema for database in HTML. Now, how to do a create table, a basic create table. This is how it looks. Uh, this is how you create a table. You actually go ahead and do that in the editor bar. That's as simple as that. Now, the key points that are in database table management. Now, this is how you create a new table. Now, what are the points that you need to remember when you create that? The relational databases store all their data in tables. A table is a data structure. Again, I understand that you guys already know that, but we are still going to go through that. Please bear with me. It will be helpful for you, I promise. Now, a relational database stores all the data in tables. A table is a data structure consisting of an unordered set of horizontal rows, each containing the same number of vertical columns. The intersection of an individual row and column is a field that contains the specific piece of information. Much of the power of relational databases comes from defining the relations among the table. To create a table, right-click in the database database name in the object browser and select the menu option. Then create table from the pop-up menu, or just simply press insert. You can also use the main menu. You can go to the top, go to database, go to create, and then click on table. How to alter a table? To alter a table, right-click on the table in the object browser and select the menu option, Alter Table, from the pop-up menu, or go to Table and then go to Alter Table from the menu bar, or simply press F6 if you have the focus on that table in the object browser. This opens up a tab similar to the Create Table tab with the column names. The values are already filled up as shown above. Again, I apologize, it says below because I was in a hurry. Now, from here, edit the column values, add new columns, delete existing columns, do all those things you can alter all those things on the table with SQLyog in a few seconds using this particular option. Now, what are the key points that you need to remember while altering a table here? So if the table contains data rows, some data may be affected due to changes. For example, if data type is changed or length is reduced, then some of the data will be affected. If the change is not permitted, for example, if you specify a column as primary key which contains null values, an error message is triggered and the specific offending change is not affected. So please remember that. Uh, if the data entered is incorrect, you can cancel the changes by clicking the revert button. The revert button is right there. Click on save to alter the table. If you want to see the alter table SQL statement that SQL sends to the server before executing it, there is a preview tab as well that will help you view that. Now, this was simply just altering the table. We have another option that I've gone through in the past, but is often overlooked because it just looks like simple settings. It looks nothing that is looks pretty simple, but is something nothing that new users actually focus on. That's called preferences. So we'll just go through preferences here. This is how preferences look. Again, I apologize for the screenshots sizes, but this is something that we need to go through. So there are about 5 tabs in preferences. I have taken a screenshot of it, of all 5 of them. Again, the sizes are small and bigger than they should have been because of the haphazard nature of my work today. So we'll just go through them one by one, and we will explain what are preferences. So you can set preferences for SQLyog environment using tools preferences. 5 types are available in the dialog. There is a general tab. Here you can specify a number of settings to customize displaying, editing, and SQL statement processing features in SQLyog. There is a tab for Power Tools. This tab is for configuring, enabling, disabling the autocomplete feature. There is a tab and a tab font and editor settings. Here you can set up fonts or colors for SQLyog environment for your absolute convenience. You can just play around with it and change the colors for your SQLyog. Tab for SQL formatter. Here you can specify the number of settings to customize formatting and displaying query in SQLyog. There's a tab called Others. Here you can specify a number of settings to customize displaying and editing data in SQLyog. Please remember, just a quick tip, check the restore session on startup option to restore your previous session along with all the query tabs and the history tab the way you left it. Use a theme to change the look of SQLyog. All you have to do is pick from a drop down list. So we are going back. Here it is. You'll be able to see that here. So there is an option that shows you to restore the session of startup. You will see that blown up here. If you just look at the box that is the fourth box, the bigger one on the center left pane, you will see that it says others, and it starts with retain user modified column width. And if you keep going down, there is truncate column headers to maximize data size. And if you keep going down, there's a restore session of startup there. So that is really helpful. So we advise you to keep checking that. That will allow you to restore the session in case there is a crash or anything. Just if you go through what I went through today, you'll be able to actually save all your work on SQLyog and make sure nothing is lost there. You'll be able to restore your session as soon as you start it up again. Again, there is the theme option. I have selected Twilight, but you can select any kind of theme that you want and select the toolbar size as well. It's up to you. Now, in the preferences under general, that is the first tab, the first box that is pretty small, but I'll just explain that. There is an option under the table data info history tab. where you will be able to, at the very bottom, you will be able to actually define the position of table data, and info data. You will be able to actually define their positions so that you can move the table data under query tabs, move the history under query tabs, or move the info data, info table under query tabs. You'll be able to position them, play around with them according to your need. That is something that you can do through preferences. So this is preferences that we just explained. Now let's move to export data. With SQLyog, you can export data of a table. You can select the table in the object browser by right clicking. You can select backup and export. There are two options for it: backup database as SQL dump and export data as CSV, SQL, Excel, all that. We discussed the first option earlier in the webinar, if you remember. The second option can be initiated by pressing Control Alt C. If you want to change the program defaults or whatever you entered last time when you used this function, click the change, and in the appearing dialog, check options as you need. Specify the file name for export. To fully understand this dialog, you will need to understand the MySQL load data in file statement. However, there is an extremely useful feature if you wish to copy your data from clipboard directly to an Excel workbook or to a file which will then be opened in MX Excel. Use the button change to specify the escape character pops, and now so you will need to use the button change and then specify the escape character. uh, that particular button will pop up, and now you'll be able to click on fill Excel friendly values, where SQLyog will automatically select the delimiters used in Excel. So this is how it looks. You will be able to export the data. This is where you will be able to specify the escape characters, and this is how you will be able to export using the Excel. So you will see that there is an export using the Excel option here. There is HTML option here, and there is an XML option here as well. So this is how you'll be able to export data as CSV. There is an example file for that. Now this is how you'll be able to export as HTML. Again, the screenshots are small because I was doing some ninja work today to get this webinar started. But please bear with me, and please take a screenshot. You can blow it up, or you can look at it once this is done. This is how the data looks when you're exported in XML, and this is how the data looks when you're exported using the Excel. These are just three examples. This is not something that how your data will look. It might look a bit different, but basically this is how it looks when you're doing your work properly. You're exporting data using Excel, HTML, or XML. This is how it looks. So this is again another example of export using the Excel file. You'll be able to see that using the actual Excel file here. So this is how it looks. Again, you can take a screenshot of this to understand this in the future if you're new to SQL. Now, let's go through some user management. SQL provides a powerful tool for adding, editing, deleting users, managing privileges on the selected databases, tables, and other database objects. Please note that everything managed here is stored on the server. SQLyog does not verify users' details and privileges. The MySQL server that you are working on using SQLyog does that. Every time a connection is established, the server verifies that the user details are valid. Every time a user executes a query, the server will check that the user has sufficient privilege to execute that particular statement. Accordingly, users already created during the installation of the server or users created with other clients can be used by SQLyog, and what SQLyog creates is available for other clients as well. To add a user, please open User Manager, click on Add New User button, provide the username, hostname, password, and select the limitations that you want to give to the user. Finally, click Create, and the user will be created. To edit the username, password, and limitations of any user, Select the user from the drop down, select the root made from the left pane, and edit and save changes. To delete a user, select an existing user in the drop down in the upper leftmost corner of the user management dialog. Next, click delete user. You'll be able to prompt it once for confirmation, and once you confirm, the user that you selected will get deleted. So this is how you manage users. This is the user manager here. You'll be able to see the user on the top left corner. You'll be able to add a user there, delete a user. This is where you'll be able to add username, password, all that, and save the changes. Uh, Now, this is just a user manager. This is where you'll be able to actually get privileges as well. So what do you do about privileges? So there are global privileges. In order to assign global privileges to any user, select the existing user in the user dropdown, select the global privileges from the left pane, check, uncheck the required privileges, and click on Save Changes. This is where you will be able to do the global privileges. Now, object privileges. In order to give object level privileges, select an existing user in the user dropdown, choose the object to which you want to grant revoke privileges, check, uncheck the required privileges, and click on Save Changes. This is how it looks. And now there's a quick tip, since it's a webinar for tips, to view objects on which the user have privileges. Check show only a privilege objects at the bottom left corner. Okay, if you want to view the objects on which the user has privileges, you just need to check the show only privileged objects at the bottom left corner that you see in the screenshot. Again, it's small, I understand that, but you can see that there is this small dialog box on the left bottom corner of each dialog box in the user manager that says show only privilege objects. You can click on that to view the objects on which the user has privileges. Now, key points to remember during the user management. Creating a user does not create any privileges for the user. The user will be able to connect to the server, but almost only that. He cannot read data or write to the database and hardly see any details at all. To empower the user, privileges must be assigned to it. The MySQL server handles privileges of a user on both the global level and almost on any object level. Some privileges can be assigned on more levels optionally. Other privileges are only possible on the global or specific object level. SQLyog user management is context aware. Please remember that. SQLyog will list possible privileges in the right area of user management dialog, depending on the server version and what object is currently selected in the left area. You will see the context on the right area change if you select the global level database or a table or store routine. Once you have decided on what level of user should have specific privileges, select that level in the left area of the user management dialog box and check the privileges that the user should have on this level. And then click next to save changes. Now, this was just the key points to remember in user management. Please remember, this is the absolute end of the webinar today. I again apologize for the delay. We have a video on YouTube at the below address where you will be able to check out and get a video presentation for a virtual tour of SQLyog. You can copy or you can take a screenshot of this and go to that particular page. This is how it looks. It says how to manage MySQL and MariaDB database bases easily using SQLyog. It's a 19-minute video. It's quick, it's educational, it's a virtual tour, and you will love it. So let's go through some of the trial limitations for SQLyog as we do you at the startup and as well at the exit. You will get a window during the trial period displaying how many days are left. Once the trial period is over, it will exit immediately. After showing the trial period expired window, the connection window will not appear. Data sync will only allow to sync 2 tables per job executed during the trial. Scheduled backups will only allow 2 objects to be exported per job executed. The two objects may be of identical type or different type. It doesn't matter. Stored procedures, tables, etc. Import external data tool will only allow two objects to be exported, migrated per job executed during the trial period. Now, what is the license structure for SQLyog? SQLyog is perpetual, which means that you can use it for as long as you need. You can install it on multiple machines as long as you're the only user. A single user license can be installed on two different machines. If you plan to hold a multi-user license, you can distribute it across your teams as long as the number of active users match the license quantity. The trial version does not have the option to register for a full version. You will need to buy a license or get the license you hold from the customer portal area. Once you have purchased a license, you will receive a welcome email with the login link and credentials to the WebView portal. That portal will contain the latest installer, which is 64-bit, and registration code for your license. If you're planning for a site license for your company, please look into the unlimited user license option. It will allow you to use the silent installation feature, which will install SQLyog over a network on all the machines in your office. So this was SQLyog's license structure. Now, ways to get help during and after trial. Our support team is available at IDERA, MySQL support at idera.com. I'd suggest you to again take a screenshot of this particular presentation as well so that you can get help whenever you need. You can contact our support team at IDERA, MySQL support at idera.com. You can drop me an email at dean@idera.com if you need any help, if you need a discounted pricing option or offer on any of the new licenses or any of the renewals, I will help you out. I'm the renewal representative, but you can also help connect to me if you need a new license. I will connect you to one of the representatives as well. We are also available at the chart intercom box on webview.com. You can go to webview.com and you'll find a chart intercom box on the right corner. You can just go in there and type in a hi. If I'm available, I will do my best to help you out. So this was the presentation for SQLyog. Again, I apologize for the really long delay. I understand that this might disappoint some because you're not used to being having delays. So I will try my best to do better in the future, and I will make sure that you guys have a better experience and more details on SQLyog. That's me. This is Dean Thomas from WebYog, giving you a quick web presentation on SQLyog. Please reach out to us if you need any help. Thanks for your time. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe and have a blessed day. Bye bye.